How to never get denied for a loan again.
You know what? It's a lot of things that we don't know as a community that we need to know. Turn that penny into 5.3 million. You want to learn how to make your money work hard for you rather than working hard for money? I want you to be there. Tune in. Hey, it's me again, and I am here with my girl. Welcome to the Insurance Cash Flow Concept, where Janelle is going to be asking the questions that you probably want answers to. For example, how does the concept even work? And what is the insurance cash flow all about? What do you mean guaranteed approvals and how to make your money grow and blah, blah, blah? Okay. These are the questions that we all want to know. For example, how do I become my own banker and how paying the loan back really works? And how do I pass this on to my heirs? I'm sure you have questions. And Janelle is going to make sure that they get answered. I'll see you on the other side.
It's not just what you buy, it's how you buy it. There are 3 ways to make major capital purchases like automobiles. The debtors have no savings. They're not earning any interest, so they're forced to pay interest. The savers save. They earn interest on their savings dollars and they pay cash. There's another option which we call the wealth creators. They save, they earn compound interest, and they collateralize their major capital purchases. Collateralization simply means they pledge a portion of their money as security for an amortizing loan against their cash position. Their money is still earning interest while they're paying interest. Let's look at an example of all 3 positions. This is the zero line. It signifies a financial position where one has nothing and owes nothing. Zero. Let's look first at the debtors. They have no money, so they're forced to borrow against their future and go below zero. They make payments of both principal and interest, working their way back to zero. Unfortunately, it's easy to find oneself trapped in this position. The next position are the savers. They postpone gratification and put money away to be able to pay cash for their purchases in the future. Then the day comes that they must drain their account to make the purchase, and they find themselves uncomfortably close to the zero line, so they begin saving again to ease that tension. Finally, let's look at the wealth creators. They've been saving like the saver. However, when it comes time to make a major capital purchase, they collateralize the purchase, meaning they borrow against their capital and pay off the lender while they continue to compound interest on their money. As you'll notice over time, they, like our other 2 examples, made the same purchase, paid off their loans, and continued receiving the benefits of compound interest along the way. We all understand that debt is a problem. What is debt? Debt is borrowing money to purchase something that you can't pay for in full with your monthly cash flow. A debtor is someone who has the intention to repay, but does not have the ability to pay in full at the time of purchase. The problem with debt is you have a future obligation against your earnings, which you may or may not be able to fulfill. You lost the money you spent, plus the interest you had to pay to get it. You are now a debtor to the creditor, and you have no control over the money you're spending. Debt is not an efficient purchasing strategy. Okay, if you're not going to go into debt to buy things, what strategy will you have to use? Pay cash, right? What's the problem with paying cash? This seems like a silly question at first. If paying cash for your car is the answer to avoiding going into debt, where's the problem? The problem has to do with compounding interest or the lack of compounding. To pay cash, one must first save. Once they have sufficient funds to make their purchase, they must now deplete their savings or drain the tank. Remember, while the money was in the tank, it was compounding interest. By paying cash, they do not owe interest. However, they are no longer earning interest on the amount they withdrew. They have reset compounding on that amount of money. To get back to where they were before, they must put back what they withdrew from the tank, plus the interest they lost that they would have earned as well had they left the money in the tank. What makes filling the tank even harder to do is that any interest you earn on the money you have in the tank is usually taxed as it's earned or on withdrawal. Don't forget, compound interest works best over time without interruption. Paying cash is not bad, but it's not the most efficient purchasing strategy.
So why would someone want to learn how to become wealthy? Like, why would I have an interest in really becoming wealthy? Remember, wealth is just understanding that I have the power to exchange goods for services.
Oh, really? I thought it meant that not only am I healthy, but I have money too.
It's an abundance of wealth, but wealth is being able to exchange goods and services without any, I wish I can afford that, or oh, that's out of my. So I have a wealth of money now, so I can have whatever I desire because I have built wealth for myself.
Okay, cool. Okay, I like that. All right. So this concept, a lot of people now know about it. We're getting the word out there. At least I would like to get the word out there because I've been robbed of this knowledge all my life. So I do have a lot of questions.
Okay.
Now, one of them is when I borrow my money out of the bank, and when I borrow it from the bank, I'm penalized mostly. I have to pay back fees. I have to pay taxes. There's a lot of stuff that come with it. And I keep hearing you say, when I borrow the money for my policy, it'll still be there. How is it still sitting there if I took it out?
Right. So understanding the process of how you're actually taking out a loan against your collateral. So I'm not actually taking the money out. I'm taking out a loan with the institution that I have a relationship with because I am part owner now. So as a owner of this institution, I can actually take out a loan against my own collateral because I never want to drain my own tank. The compounding penny concept that we talked about earlier, that penny compounding over 30 days is over $5.3 million. So if I was taught to never touch the money, then now I have power. I'm creating wealth for myself, okay? So that's so important to understand that concept. So really quick, paying yourself, understanding why you're going to take out that loan is so important because when you pay yourself back, you're going to recapture the interest that you would have normally gave to the bank.
That's my next question.
Okay.
So as far as paying myself back, obviously when I take out a loan with my credit union, they ask me when my payday is or whatever type of loan it is, and I have to pay it back on a certain day, with interest, with more. And you're saying that when I borrow my money, it's best to pay myself back, just like, as if I was paying the bank back.
So
I'm not disciplined enough.
Okay, so let's say the bank gives you a loan and they're going to give you an amortization of what that loan is going to cost. And they're going to say, here's your interest rate. And so you can set it up to come out of your account every month, right? Because you're a little disciplined to have that done for you on your behalf. And that's traditionally how most of us, when we're paying our bills, it's so much easier to just have it set up automatically to come out. You can do the same thing with your banking institution. You can use your banking institution for that type of platform, but your residence is where your money is parked over in your policy. So when you pay yourself back, so imagine with an insurance company, you're probably going to pay back about 5%, okay?
Okay.
Now, I'm giving you the option to pay back 10% of that loan back. Now, if I'm paying 10%, guess who's recapturing that extra 5% going into that policy? So now I got an extra 5% that I'm going to. Now, that extra 5% might not seem like a lot, but by the time you retire, just like your traditional 401k at age 70, that's an extra $150,000, depending on how much of the interest you've been paying back over. Let's say it's a 4-year loan or a 5-year loan you would traditionally pay back. So you're going to set it up. You're going to do it. I'm going to set it up for you. Hopefully,
absolutely.
Right? So amortize it over a 4-year period, a 5-year period. You're going to take that money out of your account every month, going back to the policy. The money is going to then be put back towards that loan, paying that loan back down. So now the next following, let's say 4 years later, you still have an additional $100,000 because every 4 years, remember, you're still putting away the extra $2,000, a little over, but you're still putting away. So in 4 more years, not only do you have your $106,000 because it's still compounding, it's no longer $106,000 anymore because now you're at over $200,000 at a interest rate compounding. And not only that, you also recapture some interest too.
Right. And
it's going to be so much more. So you now in 8 years, you're almost at a little over $250,000. Okay. And that's just in a 10-year. And so imagine working 10 years, and most of us have been working longer than that on one job, and then we look at our bank statements, it's just not there.
So I've always had, tried to keep up with insurance policies, and I use that word try. That means looking good while failing. So I have a policy, and why don't I know this? You know, why?
So you probably have what I call a junk policy. That's and most people don't even know what they have because they just been paying. But at some point, it's going to term out. So it's a term policy. And that policy is going to term. There's no cash value build up. And so again, that's why I want to give credit to Mr. Nelson Nash, because he was an insurance agent for over 15 years. And most insurance agents are not familiar with infinite banking and how money flows. And so when he, brought this concept to the traditional insurance agencies, no one really adopted this concept.
Wow.
So it took him years just to get people's minds wrapped around understanding that the government, for the most part, can be like parasites because they'll tell you to put your money here, put your money in this institution, a 401k, and all these different financial institutions. And again, there's no disrespect to where you park your money. However, we're talking about tax-free when you're able to pull your money out whenever you want to pull your money out. We're talking about being able to pay yourself back and recapturing all of that interest that you would have paid back to the loan or to the banking institution. We're talking about being able to have your money still there earning on a compounding interest. We're talking about being able to pass it on to your heirs tax-free. Those are the concepts that you're not going to get in those other traditional saving institutions.
Not at all.
Okay?
Not at all. And I like that I can pass it down. That's the thing. And I read another thing about your concept is if something happens to me, and when I borrow and something happens to me, my death benefit is still there. I can still be covered. My family will still be covered.
So let's say you borrow the money. And because it is a increasing policy, that's the way I design it. So it's an increasing, which is paid up additions for us insurance agents, producers. And so that means basically as you age, your policy is aging as well. So that means it's constantly growing. So you start off with a $100,000 policy. In 10 years, that policy has matured to probably close to $300,000-$400,000. Okay. Now you have, let's say, a cash flow of about $400. Let's assume you got a $500,000 death policy now, based off of $100,000 that you originally your face value.
Okay.
It has grown to a $500,000 policy. That basically means you're going to have about $400,000 cash at age 70 at your disposal. So let's say you just take out a loan and you never pay it back because you don't technically have to pay it back. So what's going to happen? The loan, so God forbid anything happens to you, the loan is going to be taken out of the death benefit, and then $100,000, which is what you started with anyway, goes to your family.
Wow.
And you got to live off of that cash that was yours in the first place.
This is too good to be true, but it's factual.
And it's never too good to be true. And I'm glad you brought that up again because you said it once before. And a lot of times when we attract by default. Okay. So if we don't think that we are entitled to wealth, wealth cannot produce itself. Okay. Wealth does not just drop out of the sky. Wealth is just, it's unto you according to your faith. It's unto you according to your belief So if you believe you are entitled, and if you believe you are deserving, then guess what?
I am.
That's right.
I am.
So be
I am
unto
the
you.
great I am.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I really do want to get started on the policy. This is amazing. I do have one more question too. I want to
Okay.
ask. So with the infinite bank, sorry, not infinite banking, with your policy,
Insurance cash flow concept.
okay, with the insurance cash flow concept, and you create your own policy, which is the your life insurance policy, the YLIP.
Yes.
I wanted to ask this: is there a certain amount of number I have to start with? Because I only have, let's say, I only have like $9,000 that I can just say, hey, can you put this into my policy? Is that too small of a number, or do you have to have a certain amount of
Absolutely
money?
not. Absolutely not. Wherever you are financially, wherever you
Anywhere?
are. So let's assume you want to take out a policy on yourself and you want to do one on your kids and and so on and so on, because it can only be in your insurable interest, meaning your household, immediate, not nieces, nephews,
Okay.
but again, spouse, children, grandchildren, okay?
Okay.
So you want to create this infinite banking. Remember, I always talk about now. Everything is now. So you start now today, and 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, that money is still growing. And I like to use the illustration from the movie we watched, Self-Made, great movie, to see Madam C.J. Walker live right next door to the Rockefellers, okay?
Mm-hmm.
However, the Rockefellers understood this concept.
Okay.
And so here we are 3 generations later, no hair product, no nothing that they can show other than us being able to watch history,
Mm-hmm.
But with history, if the wealth transfer now, I can ask you a simple question, but I can answer the same question for myself. Did our grandparents establish the wealth transfer for us? Because if they had us, we will still be living off of that wealth right now.
Right.
So I know they didn't, and I'm probably sure in your case they didn't either.
Right.
Okay.
No.
So when wealth is transferred and passed down because of what you did now,
Okay.
today, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, that wealth is constantly compounding. So if I can take a penny and double it over 30 days and get over $5.3 million, imagine what you can do if you start now. 30 years from now, your children's children will have probably over $50 million at their disposal. So you're training them in the way that they should go and understand wealth now through this insurance concept. Building that understanding of don't touch the money. You only, because our money has to have a residence, a permanent residence, no matter what.
Absolutely.
We finance everything we buy. So I would rather finance and pay myself back. So, and I'm sure you're not going to ask this question. I need to get this question out. Most people listening to me right now, they're going to say something like, oh, that sounds great, but I pay cash for everything anyway. Okay, that puts you just above the zero line. Okay. Either you're paying and you're going to stay under the zero line in debt, or you're a saver and you're going to be just above that zero line, because you can save, but now you got to buy that purchase, right?
Yeah.
You want the house.
Yeah.
And so now it goes back down. So you're
Yeah.
just right above the zero line, and then you
Wow.
saving again.
Okay.
Now you need that car, right? You want to cash that car. Now you're right back. And so you're always on this wave pattern. But a wealth creator that understands creating wealth and understand that you can do the same thing just through a simple concept. This is not a product. This is understanding a simple concept.
Can I borrow to invest in property?
Absolutely. That's the great thing about understanding this wealth concept, the cash flow. We need cash flow to invest, to rehab, to fix it up. And then once I have that money coming back in, I can pay the policy down, the policy loan, because I'm creating wealth. So insurance and real estate is really tied together, because the quickest way to wealth, I wrote a book, it's called No Experience Necessary.
I read it.
The Secrets in Real Estate, right? And so one of the quickest ways to understanding wealth is through real estate. But if you don't have a way to finance that real estate, most of us are always looking, where's the hard money lenders? Become your own hard money lender. I don't need to qualify for a loan through this concept. I can literally say, I want my money sent to me, and within 3 days, it's basically in my account.
To do what I want to do.
To do whatever I want to do. So I don't have to, if I take out a car loan with the bank, I have to get that car. If I take out a mortgage with the bank, I have to get that house.
Right.
I can finance my own cars. I can finance my own houses
Wow. This sounds like
through
financial
my own
freedom.
policy.
Sounds like financial freedom
It
by
is
having an
financial
insurance
freedom.
policy.
It's financial freedom.
By having an insurance policy.
And so I believe
Wow.
I'm financially free, and I need you to believe you're financially free because
Absolutely.
we're all financially free,
Mhm.
but it all starts now.
No. Yeah. Thank you so much. Wow, this is really good. This is really good. I have to get it out to the people. Everybody should know about this. And of course, I don't know who to blame it on, but they don't want us to know.
So I don't look at it as a blame game because, again, it's the lack of knowledge. And that's why we're here today, right? We're
Absolutely.
sharing the knowledge that has always been out, but understanding if I am always, and I'll use this word, struggling to pay my bills, to meet, the deadline or whatever, but I didn't understand that I can take my own money before I pay my bills, build up a cash reserve, pull that money out to now pay my bills because I'm always going to have bills.
Yeah.
I desire nice things. So I'm always going to want to purchase big items. You might be a watch collector. You might love diamonds. You may love to, collect art.
Yeah.
So you're always making purchases. But if I can now make those purchases and knowing that that money is still parked in a permanent residence, and I can take that purchase and pull the money out and the money is still there, I can actually pay my monthly bills. I can pay my house note. I can pay my mortgage. I can pay all those things until I can get to a place of having enough money to now cash it out and then pay myself back. So that means that I can start wherever I am financially, from as small as a $50 payment a month to as much as whatever I like.
Wow, that sounds good. So that sounds like your money working for you.
Is your money working
That's
hard for you?
And
that's what our money is always designed to do, work hard for us.
That's the goal. Absolutely.
That's been the plan. It's time to get on the plan, and it's time to
You ready
understand
to
the
go
plan.
right?
Absolutely. I'll give you a quote.
Please do. I need a quote because we are ready.
Yeah, these illustrations have to be addressed. And so when we understand what an illustration looks like and how we can see it, and what I love about insurance is that you literally get an illustration. That illustration shows you where your money is going to be, how much money you're going to accumulate, and how it's going to look 100 years from now.
I'll get that right up front.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so that's so important to understand that.
So that's where you mean when you say I am now the bank.
You are now the bank.
I'm controlling my money. I put my money into this policy. I can borrow from this policy, and of course pay myself
Becoming your
back.
own banker.
Listen, I get it. It's like a light bulb went off.
Absolutely.
If I'm gonna take a loan out at the bank, or if I'm gonna take a loan out anywhere else, payday loan. They do payday loans. You have to pay it back, and they want more money back at that.
Highway robbery. Think about it like a credit card. You pay your bills with your credit card,
Yeah.
and you're paying them back. Almost 20% interest on a hard money loan. I thank God for Mr. R. Nelson Nash, which has now transitioned, gone home to be with but he was a devout Christian. He understood the concept, and I think before he transitioned, he had about 39 policies that he left a legacy. So this is not just about you and how you can create wealth, but how you're going to create a legacy and pass it down to your heirs tax-free. This is one of the benefits, and there's so many more benefits, but being able to have control of your own financial future.
That's amazing. And then the guarantee approval is another thing that caught my attention. I don't have to fill out an application. It's my money, literally.
And guess what, Janelle? It's not based on your credit. So your credit score has nothing to do with you wanting a home anymore, you wanting a car anymore.
Wow.
It's guaranteed approvals. You just said it. Guaranteed approvals.
No credit check.
No credit check. And so if I start now and I want to become a homeowner, because most people want to become a homeowner when they get their credit started or get their credit.
Wait, yeah.
Okay, so the average person, they wait, and they say, I'm going to do this. 5 years have gone by. 10 years have gone by, and you're still renting.
Still renting. Yeah.
10 years and you're building wealth, but you say, I want to be wealthy, right?
Right.
So with that concept, and you apply the concept, because only what you do, you understand. You can hear this knowledge today and do nothing. What you see, you remember. What you hear, you forget. Only what you do, you understand. Only what you do. So if I get this information and I don't do it and apply the principle, then I'm not really understanding the concept. I just heard it and it sounds great in theory.
How do I explain this to my family? I have family members, interested. How do I explain it? And it's just really quick. What are the best sentences to get their attention and come to this?
How to create wealth for yourself and how you can take your money and actually have your money working hard for you and borrow against the money and the money still be there. That's one of the things you can explain to your family. I think that's so important to explain that. The infinite banking, you probably heard the private strategy, you probably heard become your own banker. Remember, this is the insurance cash flow concept. You must understand, and we have to learn how to become wealthy. That is a process, that is a concept that we all have to get in order to get the understanding.
Thank you.
I want to thank you. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate you getting this concept and all I get that understanding. Thank you, Janelle.
You're welcome. I'm passing on assets, not liabilities. Okay?
All right.
Okay.
You said a great quote before, and it was something about an entity or a business. I thought that was really great.
The beginner, the expert in anything was the beginner?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Oh, she did it. Oh, she did it. Live your blessed life.